It is coming up now on 7:14 Acadiana's Morning News, and it is time for Lafayette Live with Lafayette Mayor-President Josh Guillory. All right, so our phone lines are open, and we want people to call in if you have some questions, comments, concerns. Obviously, we have a lot of discussion topics to get to today, sir. Thank you for joining us once again. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Bern. Always good to be here. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. So yesterday, when those positive tests came back, there was discussion of, okay, now we have these 2 positive cases. If you would, for those who maybe they're just waking up. And so 2 cases for Lafayette Parish. What else do we know, sir?
So right now, that's pretty much summarizes it up, though, Bern, to be honest with you. We have 2 positive cases from Lafayette. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. We knew this was coming.
Right.
We assembled a task force of medical doctors last week. They've been given very objective, unbiased, nothing to gain or lose advice. And I think we said on the show last week that, we're prepared from level 0 to do nothing all the way to, God forbid, a full-blown out quarantine if the president or the governor should call for that. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole bunch of levels in between. Our level of preparedness is determined on the level of advice that we're getting from these medical doctors. And I want to give there's so many shout outs we can give right now over the radio. Just I said this on a couple interviews yesterday. You want to see the best of Acadiana, you want to see the best of Lafayette, come to the Cajun Dome. Come see these volunteers. Come see these medical professionals in action. They have a lot of things that they could be doing. They're out there in full-blown out gowns and their PPE, personal protective equipment, sweating and just, hot, but not on people, but it's just clarify that. I had to catch myself. But it's hardware and all that stuff. And they have to change it frequently. But Our Lady of Lourdes, Lafayette General have stepped up, and our first responder, Acadian Ambulance, other ambulance services in the parish, whether it's personnel, or whether it's equipment such as testing kits, because it's a very serious situation. Lafayette General, Our Lady of Lourdes have come to bat for us. It's a collaboration, and we're working together. And I want to also encourage our listeners out there. Utilize 311. Yeah. We have a special partnership right now with the Schumacher Group. It's a healthcare providers in emergency situations. And when you call 311, you might have to be patient today just because of the amount. Yeah, and that's okay though. Mm-hmm. But that's fine. Look, I'd rather you have to wait on the phone as opposed to waiting in an emergency room.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why we set up these sites. But you dial 311, get a special recording, press 1. And then whenever you get through, you'll talk to an actual healthcare provider. So it's not a Lafayette Consolidated Government employee that, like myself, that doesn't have. I don't have any healthcare medical. I'm not a medical doctor,
right.
So I could tell you where to go, but that's about as far as we can go. But that's good though. So you go through the screening process over the phone. Some of our members of our community, it's hard for them to get around. So this is a great service. They can't diagnose you over the phone, but at least it might be able to put your mind at ease, and it might be able to start that pre-screen is what we call it. If whether you go through that process or whether you do both, we have our site open at the Cajun Dome. It's open at 9 a.m. We're aimed to go through 2 p.m. We may have to adjust that a little bit depending on certain things, equipment, volume, just different variables. But that's more hours than most other cities that are doing. I mean, Baton Rouge, I think was what, Jamie, 2 hours?
Yeah, I think they were only open a few hours in the afternoon.
And
so that's good. I mean, that's a bigger municipality, and we're but. Our parish, roughly 250,000 people. For these hospitals to step up and come here with not only with their personnel but their equipment, and these testing kits are hard to get. COVID-19, and thank you again to Lafayette General, Our Lady of Lourdes. Really, really good partnership. A lot of times people think they compete with each other, but when it's really burns like politics. When when it's a situation like this, you put competition, you put politics aside. You just try to help people.
And that is the biggest part, I think, is that everyone has come together collaboratively to be able to do it and to, put everything together. And the tests are part of that equation, getting the test and actually being able to have the tests, is one of the biggest parts of this equation.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. And it's, obviously a very serious situation. Well, if people do want to call, if they have questions, if they have comments, etc., it is 232-1542, Lafayette Live, designed for you in mind to call in and express what you're thinking. All right, we're going to go to Steve, who is first up this morning. Steve, good morning. Go ahead, please.
Well, good morning. I haven't heard much about folks that, that most of it's probably not corona. So I don't know, where you just, you hunker down, you stay home, you drink lots of liquids? I mean, what are the suggestions? Everybody that feels a little funny this allergy season, run to the doctors. Is going to overwhelm things. That was one question, and the other was, how can we utilize these clinics more efficiently? That was my other thought.
Okay. All right, Steve, thank you very much.
Steve, great questions and great concerns. And you're right about not wanting to overload our healthcare system. So this is why we set up the screening sites. It's one, so we can remove some questions, because I think what you said is like, what do we do? Yeah. Well, sometimes we don't know, so we gotta be as proactive as we possibly can. But our medical professionals are out there. For example, the Cajun Dome. We are prepared to put up 4 additional screening sites. So if you're like Steve and some other of our members of our community, and you're wondering, and you have these symptoms, you're running a fever over 100.4, maybe you're pregnant, maybe you have some comorbidities, you have other underlying health issues. Look, remove all doubt. Come to the screening site. Come to the screening site. It's a very efficiently run operation. It's a combination between an assembly line, an emergency room, and a whole bunch of things in between. But it's going to work, Bern. And it did. Yesterday we didn't know.
Yesterday was a real smooth operation.
Very impressed. Very impressed. And if you guys want to know what it looks like before you go, we did 2 run-throughs in a golf course. We did some interviews. Just kind of look on our Facebook, Lafayette Consolidated Government's Facebook page. You'll see the video, and you can kind of get an idea of what to expect. So literally just ran through with a golf court, nothing fancy, but I wanted people to see
what it was going to be like if they did really want to go there.
Now today, we don't know what it's going to bring. Okay. So again, I encourage everybody, utilize the 311 system. It's free. Just call through. Hey, look, 311. You dial it. Now be patient today, because we don't know what the day is going to bring. But we have a solid team of healthcare providers on the other side, and no matter where you go, it's going to be frustrating if this is the case. So you might as well do it from the comfort of your home, or in your car. You call, you tell them your symptoms, you walk through a little algorithm, and they'll give you some guidance. And there's no silver bullet, no magic answer. But it's if I were in that position, I would want to have some information. I would want somebody to hold my hand, walk me through that, and that's what the 311 service is for. But also calling 311. I'm going to piggyback on what Steve said. It also helps our healthcare providers, because if we can knock it out over the phone, even if it's just to put your mind at ease, then it saves. That's one less car that has to go through the line, and that's one less person that's taking up some resources and some personnel. But again, I don't want to discourage you from coming to Cajun Dome. If it gets too much at this one particular site, we already have 4 additional sites within the parish
that you can open.
Yeah, we can open. Broussard right now at the Broussard Sports Complex. And I talked to Mayor Bork last night. Actually, all our area mayors late last night, and they're doing a great job too. But look, he's ready. His team out there. We have a very short window of notice. We'll flex over to Broussard. After Broussard, if that gets too much to handle, we'll go up to Karen Crow. And these areas were chosen because of population, different factors. It's all about servicing the most people at that. You know what I mean? And the most bang for your buck, I guess, for lack of better words.
And that's a great way to describe it. Yeah, getting to reach as many people as possible with the resources that we have. All right, Glenn has been holding on the line. Glenn is next. Go ahead, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn.
Hello. I called the other day. Just want to say I appreciate everything that the local government is doing to help prevent the spread and getting the information out. And I understand if you don't want to speak directly to what his comments were, but I think having everyone having the same message, the message Congressman Higgins gave the other day was, I think, irresponsible. And just I think it's very important for you and for everyone to reiterate how important these lockdowns are, or these the campaign for social distancing is to help prevent the spread. So just appreciate what you guys are doing.
All right, thank you very much, Glenn. Thanks for the comment.
Glenn, I appreciate that. Let me say, I have a meeting with the congressman today, and look, I think the world of him, and I think he's doing a good job overall over there in Washington. We met under very interesting circumstances. I ran against him, so I got to know him very well. But just because you have disagreements doesn't mean we have to be disagreeable. But I will say this: I always try to look for the intent behind something, whether it's a question, whether it's a statement, or a movement or whatnot. I think I understand his intent. It's frustration, and I share in those frustrations. Look, I'm a limited government guy. There are, and I've said this on the Ross Report the other day. I said, some of the actions that I'm taking under these emergency declarations, it is an infringement on your liberties.
But it's frustrating, but it's got to be done.
The question has to come: is it justifiable?
Yeah.
And I don't believe in painting with a broad brush. I think when you do make these, when a government does have to make these infringing decisions, they should be as minimal as possible. That's why, I agree with what President Trump's doing, taking this 15 days at a time. I think that's responsible. But you got to put politics aside. The governor is doing a good job in this epidemic. The president is doing a good job. And I appreciate, Glenn, the comments on our local government. We're doing the best we can to protect our people because, look, we can talk politics all day, every day. And we're talking with the best of them. At the end of the day, my job is to improve the quality of life for those that I'm called to serve. Right. And in these circumstances, nobody asked for COVID-19. I know I sure didn't. And the coronavirus, and it can be some questionable times. But my job, above all, is to protect my people, and I'll never take that duty lightly. So I appreciate the congressman's passion. I appreciate, where he's coming from. I share with him in his frustrations. But sometimes you got to make decisions, and sometimes you're not going to make everybody happy. But I know we made the best decisions for our local people.
It is coming up now on 7:26. We will continue Lafayette Live on the way. The number to call is 232-1542. With Lafayette Mayor-President Josh Guillory. And, of course, it's brought to you each week by the Best Stop, 1 mile north of I-10 and Scott. The best boudin and crackling in Acadiana at the Best Stop. And online at beststopinScott.com. All right, we're going to go back to the telephone lines. We got so many lines lit up this morning. We're going to go ahead and go to Keith this morning. Keith, go ahead with your question, comment, or both.
Hey, hoorah, Josh. God bless you guys.
Hey, Keith, hoorah.
Hey, everything's cool. Hoorah, hoorah. Hoorah for you, hoorah for us.
See, you made the distinction. That's very good.
Hey, before I forget, Bernadette, you and your team over there, great job. Love listening to you. We're lucky to have you guys, too. We're lucky to have Josh. Really smart guy, and a lot of respect for him. And his military experience is really paying off in this situation. 3 weeks ago, we suspended our school masses at Fatima, and I think those are the kinds of things we need to continue to do. And I'll totally support President Trump, all the restrictions he's put in place. I know it's going to be burdensome. Look, I own a business 45 years. We may be affected at some point. I'm a father of four, a husband. We got to support you guys, the police department, all our first responders more than ever right now. My question to you, Josh, is, and look, I'll say this, from what I'm exposed to, you guys are more informed. I'm tied into a lot of the medical community. I think we're going to be on the other side of this in 2 to 3 weeks. I really think we're going to know where we're at. Hopefully we're going to peak. The summer is going to make a big difference. My question to you, Josh, is I think we have enough restrictions in place. Do you see any more coming?
Hey, Keith, thank you.
All right, thanks, Keith.
Thank you for those kind words. I agree with everything you said about Bernie. She's great.
You have to say that because we're seeing each other.
And beautiful.
Absolutely. And hopefully I live up to those kind words that you said, Keith, but that was very kind of you. I appreciate that. In further restrictions, I don't, based on the knowledge I have today, and also including the knowledge that we got last night, I don't foresee any restrictions, but I want our community to be prepared for some additional restrictions.
Yeah, because you don't know what the governor will do either.
Exactly, right? And we're going to enforce it. And I will
it's not
say,
like you have a choice.
Right. I guess we do have a choice to abide by the law or not, but we're going to choose to abide by the law. And these our Attorney General, who was with us last night, and he opined. I think you played it earlier. Sir. Yeah, I heard that. And so what the governor's doing is lawful, and I think it's right. I think he's making the right decisions. I echo what Keith said. But the President of the United States, President Trump, is ahead of this. I think Governor Edwards has done everything he could to get ahead of this. He's listening to probably a lot of the same advice that we're getting here locally, and I believe that we've gotten ahead of it as well. But I defer to our medical doctors and Keith and to everybody listening. Any further restrictions, it's based off of the advice that I'm getting from our healthcare community. Look, we were right on this. We prepared for this. We planned for this. And by we, I mean really our medical team.
The medical team, and
They're
there's a lot
tell.
of unsung heroes too,
Oh,
right?
my gosh.
I mean,
yes.
Okay, so I saw you had a ball cap on last night. Okay, Lafayette Fire Department?
Last night we represented the police department. So
okay, gotcha.
The day
Sorry.
before, and I had my fire department. I kind of rotate back to back. So I had my fireman hat in the car. No, and thanks for pointing that out, Bern. It's these guys and gals. You're talking about unsung heroes, and we say this all the time. But again, you want to see what's the best and brightest in Lafayette Parish. Come to the Cajun Dome today. You'll see our first responders. I know we gave some props, and rightfully so, to Lafayette General, to Our Lady of Lourdes. But our first responders out there, battling the heat. Their uniforms. I'm gonna have to talk to Chief Morgan about this. We got to give them some lighter color uniforms. That black on that concrete is hot.
I'm thinking that's probably and it's only March 19th. Yeah,
exactly. But doing a great job. And so last night we had the police department hat on. We're going to represent, and today I'll roll around with our fire department hat. No, I'm gonna stick to our two. You can't see this in the audience, but one of our teammates said OSEP. So thank you to the Office of Homeland Security. I appreciate you there. We have a good Craig, Stan Sperry, Linda, all just doing a fantastic job. But I think our citizens should be proud of our first. And I know they are. So I'm going to echo what our sentiment is. We're all proud of our first responders. These guys and gals, they go to work every day. No excuse attitude. You got to love that. It reminds me of being in the military. And Jamie Anger, our Chief of Communications Officer, is with us in the studio. He's also an Army veteran. He's way smarter than me, though. He was MI. You understood the hooah. Heard, understood, acknowledged. Now, I'll tell you, Congressman Higgins, we were talking about it earlier. He in his text message will send the HUA, and I've told him I appreciate that.
That word means a lot of things.
It has been commercialized though, so but now it's HUA. But anyway, I digress. Thank you. Also, we have some other unsung heroes, Bern, if I have a little moment to say thank you. Dr. Gina Maestri is a local dentist. Look, without even really being prompted for this, I know Gina very well. She's a great person, been one of my wife's friends since they were little. We just mentioned that we had a shortage of PPE, personal protective equipment. Dr. Maestri, without even being asked, went to our office, grabbed a stockpile, got some of her colleagues, and when I get a list of their names, I'll give them plugs too. But
Absolutely.
I know Dr. St. Marie and other dentists and oral surgeons have come together. Again, best and brightest. It's right here in Lafayette. We don't need to outsource. We got enough talent and leadership in this community to conquer the world. But thank you to Dr. Maestri and her colleagues for volunteering and donating that time. So we're asking several things of our community, our healthcare providers. If you're a healthcare provider, you're listening to this, and you have time, and you have expertise that we don't have. We need volunteers. And if you go to the Lafayette Consolidated Government Facebook page. You might have to scroll down. Jamie, maybe what's it called when you put it to the top?
It's pinned to the top.
Okay, thank you. Pin it. You pin it on the top. Put it at the top with that little flag. They're both laughing at me. Anyway.
He's younger than me, by the way.
I'm busy. You got to know what you know. Got to know what you don't know.
Right.
But anyway, no, you go to Lafayette Consolidated Government. Jamie's going to put this to the top of our page. He's going to pin it to our top of our page. If you're a healthcare provider and you can donate your time and your services, please do so. Lafayette General, Our Lady of Lourdes, they're coming to the plate. They stepped up, but they only have so many resources too. So if you're a healthcare provider and you can donate some of your time, whether you're a nursing assistant to a medical doctor, anybody in the healthcare profession, please donate your time and services. Now, maybe you can do both, though. If you have personal protection equipment, this PPE, there is a shortage around the country. So from our dentists that may be closed right now to other healthcare providers, or whatever. And maybe you just have some at your house for whatever reason. Gowns.
Well, maybe
you know what I mean?
taking care of somebody previously.
That's a good point. That's a solid point, actually. So maybe you do. Maybe you do have some boxes of gloves, masks, face shields, gowns. Look, when in doubt, bring it to the Cajun Dome. I promise they'll tell you if they don't need it, but we need it. We need it over there. There's a shortage. We don't wait for the government to rescue us. We don't wait for the federal government. We don't wait for the state government. We are Lafayette. We are proactive, and we're going to continue to be proactive. We didn't need an executive order from higher powers to tell us to get ahead of this. And I can say that with confidence because the community that I live in, that I love, that I'm so blessed to serve, it reminds me of that. We have a solid medical team advising this administration. We have great people at LCG working hard, and we have wonderful first responders that have stepped up to the plate. So help them out. If you're a healthcare provider, again, I don't care if you're a nurse practitioner, nursing assistant, you worked in a hospital. I don't know. It doesn't matter. When in doubt, you go on that site and you volunteer if you can. And if you have personal protective equipment, please get it down to the Cajun Dome. We will disseminate it across our screening sites very efficiently. So that's my plug, Bern.
I like it. Okay, we go to Dan next. Hi, Dan. You're up next. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
First of all, I applaud you for your effort to get out as much information as possible. Having some of these press conferences, when we seem to be asked questions about the amount of supply kits or testing kits and stuff, the information transfer is hit roadblocks. And I think that's a problem in assuring people that we are prepared. And again, that the local and state level is not capable of handling. I understand that. But why is there such a roadblock in getting out that information for assurance to the public? So I appreciate your time and stay safe. Have a good morning.
All right, thank you.
This is Dan.
Dan.
Dan, thank you. So this is why we do this show. We try to dispel rumors. We try to get ahead of and be as transparent as we possibly can. Like I said, I mentioned one of the previous city parish president did this for 12 years. I thought it was a good job. And it's a communication. This is like coffee with the mayor president, but it's me, Bern, and today Rob's not here, James here, but it's all good. Okay, let's try to dispel that. There is a shortage of equipment.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give as much answers as I have. I'm going to give you the knowledge that I have with me. There is a shortage of equipment. There is a shortage of these testing kits around the world.
Yeah, that's what I think people don't understand. It's not just our community.
Yeah, but I know this. They're not hoarding the stash.
No.
And again, thank you to Lafayette General. Thank you to Our Lady of Lourdes. They have acquired testing kits, but they are short too. So I want to set up a reasonable expectation. So when you go through this screening process, there is some stringent guidelines to get to a test. If you're turned away at these screening sites, please have patience, but please also understand that our medical professionals, they're not just turning you away to turn you away. It's because you don't meet the criteria to get a test, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Hey, if I went through that screening site and you told me I didn't need a COVID-19 test, thank you.
I'd be super happy too.
I'll give you an air high five, practice social distancing,
and
say a prayer of thankfulness. But so, Dan, I hope that answers your question. That I don't have an exact number, but I do know we have enough to go to at least initiate our screening site. And our hours of operation today are from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's going to be a moving target. That's
right.
But that's 2 or 3 hours longer than most screening sites in the country. So, a service to our first responders and from law enforcement, the fire department, to our marshal's office, who has also stepped up big time. City courts closed pretty much. I mean, they're still accepting filings and things like that. But so the marshal has all these deputy marshals. Kudos to Marshall Hill stepping up. We didn't have to ask him. Yeah, again, if we had a show that was 12 hours long and all we did was thank people in the community, we still wouldn't have enough time. That's how great Lafayette is.
The response has been amazing. We go to Gary. Gary, you're up next. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to know what's going to happen with the homeless people, where they're going to be quarantined if they need to be quarantined. I know there's the old Walmart on the north side that would be good for a drive-through, and have them quarantined in that area if they needed to be.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. Valid concern. We have no information. I'm getting a little note written here. See, our Facebook Live, if we had that, you can see these notes, and I keep reminding my staff I can't read and talk at the same time. So this is live, right?
Right, yeah.
No, but we have no plans to quarantine in the Walmart, but it's not a bad idea, and we're open to any suggestions, but at this particular time, there's no quarantine efforts for the homeless. But again, just let's practice social distancing. Let's do what we can do. Let's go get screened if you can. Call 311. Press number 1. You'll talk to. Great news is you'll talk to a healthcare provider.
Yeah, that's if you have symptoms.
If you have symptoms, but I would say this because I know, and I'm probably gonna get fussed at for saying this, but you know what? I lead this parish, and I'm gonna tell you what to do. I'm gonna give you some advice. Call 311. It's free.
There you go.
I would much rather, if you're in doubt and you're kind of worried about it, call 311. Now, if you're in doubt and you don't have symptoms, I would strongly suggest that you call 311 as opposed to going to the Cajun Dome, because you don't want to tie up resources if you can. But when in doubt, to my wonderful fellow citizens in this community, look, we have these services, and we have these services because people, your fellow neighbors, my fellow neighbors, our fellow neighbors have stepped up. Take advantage of it. Call 311. Go to our screening site. Right now, it's the Cajun Dome, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, may change depending on our equipment or other tangibles outside our control.
Yeah.
Other factors. We're prepared to flex over to Broussard, to Cairn Crow, to Youngsville, to Scott. And I'm going to tell you, if that's not enough sites and we have the personnel and the equipment, I'm going to find other locations because that's the call to action right now.
And it really is a moving target. So
it is.
It is coming up now in 7:42. A quick break, and we'll be back with Lafayette Live with Josh Guillory. Brought to you by the Best Stop, 1 mile north of I-10 in Scott. The best boudin crackling in Acadiana at the Best Stop. Online at thebeststopinscott.com. You're listening to Acadiana's Morning News, where every Thursday from 7 to 8, you'll get Lafayette Live with Josh Guillory, and we are back to get to some more questions. A lot of folks interested in discussing things. All right, Richard, you are next. Thank you for holding. Richard, please go ahead with your questions or comments.
This is outside my area of recent expertise, so I'd like to limit my comment to one specific issue regarding Representative Higgins' announcements. None of us in the medical community object to what the governor did or had to do. That wasn't really the issue, and I guess Higgins could have stated it better. It was the unnecessary rapidity and brutality of what he did. He caught all of our local restaurateurs with, incoming perishables, employees on the way in, things like that. And there's no biological reason we can see that this couldn't have been delayed 36 or 48 hours. We were not seeing any unusual illnesses around here.
Who's we, Richard? Do you represent the medical community?
The medical community. Yes, ma'am. I'm a recently retired LSU med school professor.
Okay.
In Acadiana.
And you're a doctor?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
And I talk to a lot of folks around the country because I still have friends in academia. And basically, the complaint that most of us had was, why right now? Why not give these guys 24, 36, 48 hours to arrange their business before you mandate closures?
Okay, all right.
In other words, if you'd done this in New Orleans, it would have made sense. But to us, this was like saying, well, there's a hurricane going to hit Cameron, so we better evacuate Shreveport.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you very much. And we have your information.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Richard, I appreciate it. No, I was asking Bern to get your number.
Yep.
So, first of all, appreciate the input. And, again, on Congressman Higgins, hey, look, I respect the heck out of the guy. I've come to really admire his accomplishments and admire his team that he's put together. And I value that he has made himself accessible to me and other local leaders because he represents over 9+ parishes. And, if we need him, he's readily available to help us. Again, just want to share the intent behind his comments. I think we can all agree that we don't want unnecessary government overreach. I think that's fair, and I think that's what Richard is alluding to as well. And these are not decisions that we want to make. But when you sit in the executive branch of any government, whether it's local, state, federal, sometimes you have to make decisions that are going to upset some folks. And we just hope to God and we pray that it's the least amount of infringement possible, but serves a better good. And I know that's what we're doing. Now, Rich, the reason why I wanted your number is you're a medical doctor, and you're more than welcome to opine in my medical team that I've established because I have definitely, I know Dr. Tina Stefanski, who's leading our task force here, they have all got an earful from me about limited government and not overreach, and we're not going to have a knee-jerk reaction. They're probably tired of me saying that, but the reason why I say it over and over and over behind closed doors and on this microphone and anybody that wants to listen to me is because we have to remember the Constitution protects us from the government. It does not protect the government from us, and I will never forget that.
All right, Ben is next on the line. Ben, you were up. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, quick question, and I know we kind of canceled school and got all the kids at home, but my question is, people with contract work still going to people's houses daily and telling, we're not getting screened before we enter their houses, vice versa. So who's saying that we're not bringing it back and spreading it more?
So no one is, and you may be.
Thank you.
And you may very well be. We may have it, but there's 3 people in the studio. Chances are one of us has it. I mean, if you want to look at not to try to scare everybody, but here's the deal. It's okay. We recognize it. That's why we do shows like this. That's why we do press conferences as late as 10 o'clock last night, is to give information to folks so that we can all make individual decisions that hopefully are good for yourself, your family, your friends, and our community. And but yeah, hey, look, you may very well be. Now, and I'm not a medical doctor. I know Richard just called in, and maybe he would agree. I know our task force probably would agree. Is hey, look, if we're just looking at one issue, and that is fighting COVID-19, well, then a full blown out quarantine would surely do the trick. I mean, it would probably help and quarantine everybody for 30 days, but you got more than just one factor when you make these decisions. I know I do as a local executive branch representative here. We got to balance the economy. We got to balance quality of life and well-being. And so it's not just you can't have your blinders on and say, we're just going to address COVID-19, because we still have to live and we still have to balance all this. So I know the governor is, I assume the governor, and I have no reason to believe that the governor is not making decisions based on good intent and good faith. I have no reason to question that. Now, look, we go back and when all this settles down and we go fight over politics, we have plenty of things to disagree on. I don't like them legacy lawsuits. I don't like the severance tax. I don't like a lot of policies that come out of Baton Rouge. But now's not a time to fight over politics. Now's a time to be smart, time to execute common sense. I have had several communications with the governor's office and the governor himself. He is speaking in good faith, and I believe genuinely that he has our best interests in mind. We may disagree on policy, but when it comes to this is bigger than politics.
Okay. All right, back to the phone line. Scott is up next. Scott, thank you for holding too. Go ahead, please.
Hey, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to also thank all of the utility workers. I'm driving into work. All the power's on. I've got water at my house. I've got internet flowing into my house. And if we do have to go to some kind of more drastic measure, can you just walk us through the generalities of how all that stuff continues working? I know it is going to, but just, how do you make that happen?
Okay, Scott, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Scott, I appreciate that too. And you know what, Bern, I got to slap myself on the hand right now, because when I was talking about first responders and giving all these props to our healthcare providers, our LUS workers, man, these guys are and gals, they really are. Thank you, Scott, for mentioning that. They work very hard. When we're talking about tornadoes, we had some bad weather the other day. I get updates frequently, and our LUS director sometimes will message me 2-3 in the morning. Hey, look, we're on standby. We got it. Which is good. It's comforting to me as the leader, and then it's also comforting as I am still a citizen of this community too, and I have power in my house as well. Scott, just know that no matter what level of that this takes us, no matter what level, and I want everybody to listen very, very carefully on this, government will function. Hell hath no power here over this. I swear, I will have to stop breathing before this government shuts down. So it's, but no, we have, and I can say that with confidence because our directors are on it. Our director of LUS is on this. If you notice out there, that grass will be cut. And Warren, I know you're listening, our director of traffic roads and bridges, who the grass cutting operations fall under. I had a Bern. He's probably tired of me talking about grass cutting, but that's okay. I am who I am. It's how God made me. But his whole grass cutting crew briefed me 2 weeks ago on how we're going to do this, and I was educated. There were things that I did not know about grass cutting, and I'm so glad we had that briefing. But government will function. I don't care what's going on with this. We may have to adjust. But that's what happens when you're in battle, and do not underestimate the situation. We were at war with this virus. We were at war, and we're going to win this thing.
All right, we've got one more call, then a quick break, and we'll be back. Michael has been holding as well. Michael, you're up. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mayor.
Hey, Michael.
Michael, I have a quick question about the COVID, the announcement last night. At 5:30 yesterday, when the Louisiana Department of Health released their updated numbers, there were 2 cases that weren't attributed to any parish, and they said that it was under investigation. The 2 cases that you announced last night, are they the same cases as those?
So, Michael, I appreciate that. I don't know. It could be. Could be. I know that they're working pretty hard at the state around the clock. They do give two formal announcements each day, but as we saw last night together, and because I get those same briefings as well, and then some briefings in between. And Dr. Stefanski called me personally last night, just before we went on the air, about an hour and a half.
Okay, and let's stop right there.
Okay,
I want to stop right there.
Well, you got the finger pointing at me.
I want to make clear for everybody who's been asking on Facebook and Twitter, and some reporter even asked some question last night. Well, why are we waiting till 10 o'clock? Who cares? Okay, you got the results last night. Dr. Tina Stefanski, she called you.
Yes.
Then you put together a press conference.
Yep.
I got an email at about 8:13.
And that's right when we found out, right?
Okay, so I was like, okay, well, this is different. And it said, like, major briefing in it. So I said, okay. So me and my husband came back up here or whatever. So does that, in the big scheme of things, who cares? Okay, so was there a point behind all of that, Mr. Mayor? Like,
oh, well, so I can't speak for certain reporters, but I will say this, as soon as I think you're right. I think it was 8:13 when we sent it out.
Like, I remember, because I'm like, it's 8:13. I was getting ready to go to bed.
Look, Bern, I was joking. Well, I wasn't joking at the time, but I kind of look back and laugh now. So we left City Hall at 6:30, 6:45. I was like, okay, early day today. It's good. Let's go home, get some rest. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Well, we didn't know what last night was going to bring.
Yeah.
So we got that. I had to call from Dr. Stefanski, and I'm estimating probably 7:45. She had to get some clarifying points because because
I'm assuming the state probably got the results first.
Yep, that's what.
And
because it was a state lab.
To Lafayette. That's just my assumption.
So Dr. Stefanski is our point of contact. She's Region 4,
right.
And then she also is our task force.
Right.
So she's wearing many hats right now, but all in the same capacity. So Dr. Stefanski called me. I had some clarifying questions because before I put that information out, I want to make sure I'm accurate, and before I disseminate it amongst my team. So she, and to her credit, man, she's a warrior. She called the governor's office and got some information, confirmed some things, called me back. I called Jamie before I called my CAO, and there was a reason for that because I wanted this information out. So while I was calling our CAO, Jamie sent the mass emails to our media to say, hey, look, we're going to have a press conference at 10.
Give y'all time to get coming from that business, I know what it's like. You have to have time to get your equipment, get the personnel.
I did.
And 10 o'clock at night.
That's why when I heard that question, I was a little befuddled because I'm like, why does that matter?
Well, 10 o'clock, we reach the most people, too.
Here's another thing, and I appreciate all that, too.
People do watch the 10 o'clock news, yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I had to get my thoughts together too because I'm an
open
book when it comes to this stuff. So I wanted to make sure I knew the information that I was about to give at 10 o'clock was going to go into people's living room. It was going to resonate,
and we've been waiting on it
exactly
for at least a week and a half.
And
you
want to make sure that we were accurate and
these
prepared.
Things are going to continue to come. I mean, we're going to continue to get these positive.
Doesn't just warrant a press release. I mean, it was a pretty big deal, and we needed to get ready for it. Plus, we had to wait for Dr. Stefanski.
I just think we need to do a better job, all of us as media people, on what we are focusing on. Let's get to the bigger picture items, the nitpicking and the commentary. Nobody needs that. We're coming together as a community. Go and sit over at the Cajun Dome for a while and watch what's going on, and don't be distractive. Let's do this together, people. It's 7:57. We've got more to come on Lafayette Live. It is coming up now on 8 o'clock. In lieu of having news at the top of the hour, we have opened the phone lines back up. We had so many calls and people were having trouble getting through. Okay, questions or comments about the current situation with COVID-19. If you might just be waking up and partaking of some news this morning, 2 confirmed cases in Lafayette Parish. Those people are not at hospitals. They are actually at home, and they're on quarantine, obviously taking care of themselves. If you have a question or a comment this morning, you can call in to 232-1542. One of the big things that has been discussed in the last 24 hours, in addition to the 2 Lafayette cases, is the governor talking about he was very forthcoming yesterday in his conversation and press conference. Governor Edwards saying that residents of Louisiana should begin to mentally prepare for the possibility of even more enhanced mitigation measures against the coronavirus, which could include, notice he said, could include the closure of non-essential business for several weeks. So that could be that particular situation. We don't know what that means or if it'll even happen, but that's kind of out there. All right, Tim has been waiting patiently on the line. Hi, Tim. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to give kudos to Josh and Tina for their press conference last night. They were very forthright. They got the information out there. And what you said a little while ago about nitpicking, it was kind of almost aggravating because it seems like they don't even understand what HIPAA laws are as far as some of the reporters that were there. They cannot give out that information.
Well, and that I did see that too, sir. Yeah, I saw that, Tim. I saw that on social media. People trying to explain it to them. You can't give out that information necessarily. And just because they do it in one parish of Louisiana doesn't mean we're going to do it here.
No, and as far as timelines, you can find those same timelines just as city government can. I mean, those timelines as far as when that information is being put out, they're getting the same information that we are. So it's kind of silly, but I think they did a great job last night. I was really impressed with the way Josh handled certain questions and just shut them down and said, look, we can't give this out. So just kudos to him.
All right. Thank you very much. Any follow-up from that, sir?
Oh, I just want to tell Tim, thank you. I appreciate that, and I will pass along to Dr. Stefanski your kind words, and I really echo what you're saying about her and our medical team. And look, we're gonna get through this. I say this all the time, and I know it might sound corny, but we're Lafayette. Yeah, it's what we do. Hey, look, Byrne, you've been through how many natural disasters? I mean,
a bunch.
All of us, right?
A bunch of reporters here have too, right? I mean, a bunch of officials.
He's only 25 years old, Mr. Mayor-President.
Right. So
but we'll get through this.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, I guess
different type of fight,
but
situation. A fight nonetheless, and a
That's
fight
right.
we're going to win.
Absolutely, and this show has been open since we started it. We've told people, look, this is your show. You can call into it. If you're a reporter and you want to call into this show, you certainly could do that too. I don't think anyone has ever stopped anyone from calling your office, asking for interviews, etc. So just wanted to get to that, sir.
Thank you, Bern. And also, just to reiterate, 311. And we're staying a little later today, and thank you, Bernie, for this time, for allowing us to be able to talk to our community.
So many people want to get in on the phone.
And please call, but I do have an update, live update right here. I just got a message. So 311 works. And this is a 24-hour day operation. How great is that, huh?
It's terrific.
And no additional charge.
Wake up with that cough in the middle of the night, a little bit of a fever, you call them and...
So, Byron, check this out. Since 3 a.m., okay, and this was given to me at 7:26 a.m. For all those time watchers, we had 111 calls from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. 40 calls were serviced by the service coordinators, and I don't know what that means. And 71 calls were triaged by our nurses. I do know what that means.
Okay.
So that I just want to, with Marsha Masson from Schumacher Group over there, and really got some nurses, most of them, in our community, but even some outside our community coming in. Again, if you're a healthcare provider and you want to donate your time and services, we sure could use it. And our personal protective equipment, just donate that at the Cajun Dawn. But look, 311 works. Call it. It's 24 hours a day right now. You dial 311. You can listen in. It's the option one. But just such in 3 a.m. 111 calls over yesterday without even a confirmed positive reading that we know now. We had some. Over 1,000 calls on day one. Over 1,000 calls. Let's put that in perspective, everybody. That's over 1,000 individuals that had legitimate concerns.
Yep.
Imagine if we didn't have the call center or these screening sites. That would be over 1,000 people that could go and overwhelm our emergency rooms.
Right.
And unfortunately, we still have heart attacks and strokes and broken arms and broken legs. And we need to be able to service our community. We could not do this as an administration without our wonderful healthcare providers. Our Lady of Lourdes, Lafayette General, they have given their equipment. They've given their personnel. These testing kits that are very, very short in supply. Hey, our citizens are receiving COVID-19 testing kits where there's a lot of cities in this country that are way bigger than us. Can't say the same. This is not an administration thing. This is not a Lourdes thing or a Lafayette General thing. This is a Lafayette thing. This is a community thing. So, look, when in doubt, guys, call 311. Dial 1. It doesn't cost anything. I care about you. We care about you. We want what's best for us as a community.
And we want to stop the curve, for all of us.
And this is what's doing it.
Yeah. And all right, very good. We'll go back to Mitchell. Then we'll have a few more minutes of the show. Then we'll start to wrap it up. Okay, Mitchell, your question, please go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Bernie. Good morning, Mr. Josh. Ms. Bernie, like yourself, I go to work very, very early in the morning. So by the time the press conference was held last night, I was long in bed, and I didn't have access to radio or television until just a few minutes ago. So when I turned on the radio, y'all were discussing some complaint that reporters had about the press conference. Can you just briefly provide us with what the gist of the press conference was? Because
sure.
I have no idea what it was.
Okay, so the press.
I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, thanks, Mitchell. And if people we do have a couple more minutes for questions. 232-1542. General gist of the press conference is that officials were notified in the state of Louisiana. That information was given to Dr. Tina Stefanski, the usual team that comes together at Lafayette government, along with Dr. Stefanski. They got together at 10 o'clock, held a press conference to announce that there are 2 positive COVID-19 cases. They're in Lafayette Parish. Those 2 people are not at hospitals. They are under quarantine. That's the information that is available to bring out at this point. And so that's what Dr. Tina Stefanski spoke about last night. And that was the basic, those were the big headlines, if you will, from last night's press conference at 10. And that's why through the morning I've been trying to tell people, okay, here's this, here's that, because, a lot of times people they're waking up a little bit later in the morning, especially if they're having to be home right now. So as far as some of the different meetings that are happening and going on through the day about the different decisions for Lafayette Parish in particular, so the governor says bars and restaurants, have to close. So that happens. So are there just meetings going on all day long at this point?
Constantly, and
Okay.
and we still need government to run. So we're also balancing in other functions, other meetings as well. And take, for example, we have another situation downtown with the parking garage, the Buchanan Street parking garage. And if I know it's been busy in other news, but very proud to announce that we have movement there. We have been removing concrete panels since Tuesday. Those panels are 3,000 to 7,000 pounds. So,
wow.
But we have, I think, over eight panels moved, 10 pounds. Probably about a 30-day operation. But again, there's another, kind of a dangerous situation that fallen property. So we're moving that. Grass is being cut. Potholes are being filled,
right?
but those I'm saying those aspects of government only to remind everybody that we are still working.
Mm-hmm.
We may have to be in an amended situation, but we're going to continue to do that. As far as the COVID-19, which is front of mind on everybody because public safety, we have twice. I have my fellow parish presidents twice a week that we're on a conference call, and if they need me, they call, and if I need them, I call them. We're talking with our area mayors daily, and sometimes more than once a day. So very, very proud of all of our mayors in our parish. We are a unified front. We see this threat as what it is, and it is a threat. It's a natural disaster. It's a different type of natural disaster that you can't see. It's a very contagious virus that has no cure. So with that being said, what can we do? Well, we can use the screening site. We can go 311. You can go to Cajun Dome today, starting at 9 a.m. here in 50 minutes. I think cars maybe already be starting to be lined up now that I'm thinking about it. But we can also exercise personal responsibility, social distancing. We're a loving community, and I'm so guilty of this. Shaking hands, giving people hugs.
Yep.
Right now, let's suspend those operations. So just an air high five, virtual hug, hug emoji. That's popular these days.
And look at how many houses of faith that will be doing services that will be, either televised or Facebook Live, some other kind of way that, our community, we will win this together, our state, our country. And it is a time to band together. We can make all the ugly comments and have all that commentary later on because we're all good at it in America. It's America. So, but, we can do that later. We've got time for one more telephone call, and then we are going to wrap it up for Lafayette Live with Josh Guillory. Thank you for the extended time. We had so many telephone calls. We ended up using phone lines that were actually for the front desk. Oh. So, all right, Michael, thank you for holding. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Michael.
I didn't hear the age of the 2 people.
I don't think that has been disclosed, Mr. Guillory. Do we?
No.
Did Dr. Stefanski?
And if I knew it, I wouldn't disclose it just to protect him. At this moment, until the medical providers told me that I could, but I do not know that answer.
Okay. Does that help, Michael?
Well, no, yeah. You've only wondered if they were elderly people or young
Well, you know
people.
what, Michael? That also brings up a great point from an article that I was looking at, and Jamie Angel was yesterday, and it was talking about the age ranges.
Yeah, like 40% of those in the ICU in the United States with COVID-19 are below the age of 60.
Below the age of 60. Okay, and so we've got people in all different age
like
groups.
20% of them are millennials.
Okay, so we've got folks in all across. Now that's across the country, Michael. I hope that gives a little perspective.
And Michael, let me clarify. Until the medical professionals, one, tell me, and then two, say that we can release that, because HIPAA. I'm not a HIPAA expert, but I do appreciate privacy, especially in this situation. So until that is released, until I hear the medical doctor say this is what it is and this is what you can release, the patient has either given consent or it's legal to do that. But we need to protect people's privacy. I know we live in a world of information, and as soon as I get it, we do give it out. Like Bernie said, 8:13. I think Dr.
Well, I woke up
Stefanski.
at 8 o'clock, right? I accidentally took a nap, which is terrible for a
Aaron,
person
you
that wakes
sleep?
up early. Yeah.
I didn't think you slept.
And thank you, Michael, by the way. Yeah, and so I woke up at like 8 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, all right. Well, I always check my email. I always see who called me, all this. So I look at my email. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I got to go back to work.
You're going to associate my name and emails with bad news.
Yeah,
Bernie.
dude, thanks.
No,
right?
good.
No, but I had like 27 other emails about different stuff, too, and a bunch of calls to return. See, that's why news people are not allowed to take naps. All right, one more call. Raymond, you're the final call of the day, sir. Please go ahead, and thanks for calling.
Good morning, Raymond.
Yes. Good morning. I was calling. I've been trying to get in touch with the Louisiana Workforce Commission for over a week now. I was laid off beginning of March.
Yes, sir.
It's either their systems are down,
yes, sir,
or something. Do you know of any other ways of getting in contact with them, just to at least do the weekly claim or anything like that?
There are the two ways that you're probably already familiar with, and that is via the website or the 800 line, and it has been inundated. It may take you repeated times to call into that number. And, of course, the website. And, Raymond, if you want to go ahead and hold on, we're going to give you some more information. And, Jamie, would you like to also share? Raymond, hold on for me, please.
Across the country, applications for unemployment benefits went up 70,000 cases just last week. So they're inundated. But LAworks.net.
That's correct.
For the information, and just keep trying. I know that sometimes our call center gets an influx.
Does.
You just got to keep trying, and someone will eventually get with you.
Yeah, and as that gentleman, Raymond, was saying, he was laid off at the beginning of March. And, yes, it can be a little bit hard, and all of the systems have been overwhelmed, whether it's dealing with DCFS and SNAP benefits and, Louisiana Workforce Commission, because now you don't have to obviously actively look for a job to get benefits, and you don't have to show any of those requirements. So, yeah, things are a little bit different. So a lot of people have applied. So we're going to help Raymond.
We are adding some nodes, though, to our 311 call system to ensure we can handle the increased capacity.
Okay, very good. That's good to know, too. Mr. Guillory, wrapping up.
Yes, ma'am. And Raymond, look, my heart goes out to you, and I know there's a lot of people that are in your situation right now. And, Bud, just hang in there. Utilize the resources that are available, not only on the state level, but also the federal level. I was glad to see there were some amendments to the Louisiana Workforce Commission's policies in this regard. I'm also very glad to see President Trump being ahead of this and working on an economic stimulus package. We don't know all the details on that, but I believe his administration has also done a good job being out in the forefront of getting information out. So hang in there, Bud. We're going to get through this. I know we will, and prayers for everything. And we didn't. I should have been echoing that more than anything. In a time like this, we should all be reminded that we do serve a loving and merciful God, and that we're all His children. So let's pray. I know we want to preach personal responsibility, and we need to do that. Exercise your social distancing, exercise common sense.
That's right, because He also requires us to be wise, which means we have to do our own part.
So
right?
Let's exercise our faith, because it is ultimately our loving God that we serve.
Josh Guillory, Mayor-President of Lafayette, thank you for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bernie. God bless.
All right, God bless. Coming up now on 8:16.